we've been reporting on Bank of America, Wells Fargo, all of them basically trying to stop you from wiring money out of the country. All those announcements the last few months. And now the big banks are announcing that when you have a bake sale or you have a food truck or whatever the case is, that when you deposit cash, you've got to show ID when you deposit it, even though it's got an assigned bank account, even though it's got an assigned deposit point into the person's account. You're going to be treated like a criminal for the database. This is all part of capital controls and to track any type of underground economy. Meanwhile, the big mega banks launder $500 billion a year in North America alone of drug money on record and don't get in trouble. But you depositing $5 will be treated like a criminal. And a lot of big banks are saying they're not going to even let you deposit cash anymore. They want to get rid of cash or make you pay and penalize you. So we reported on this last week. Chase imposes new capital controls on cash deposits. Then one of my crew members brought this in this morning. We already had a screenshot of this letter, but we actually have the physical card that they were given, where you can't just drive in and put the cash in an envelope in the night drop. You've got to wait till the day and drive through and show them your ID so it can be put in the database. Important news. See, it's not police state changes treating you like a prisoner. It's news. Important news about cash deposits. When making a cash deposit, please deposit only into personal accounts that list your name. Be ready to show a valid ID for deposits for personal and business accounts. Please talk to us about alternative deposit options. We're happy to help. JP Morgan Chase, NA member, FDIC, and Federal Reserve shareholder, I should add. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is going on. That is unfolding. That is what is happening. And we live in a completely rigged system that is accelerating towards internal capital controls, another telltale sign on our road to tyranny. I want to get to some other news here. But first off, I know the guys gave it to me, but I can't find it. Will you give me another video list, please? Thank you very much. I know there's some video clips and reports that I want to get to as well. And we do have the winner up on Infowars.com right now of the NSA-TSA tyranny contest, because the NSA and TSA have been threatening people with arrest, suing people, and threatening suits that are critical of them. And so we funded back in December a $10,000 one winner, first place winner prize, and hundreds of great videos got produced. Everyone is a winner that entered the contest, and some of the videos got 500,000 views. Some of the biggest ones, a lot of the others got hundreds of thousands of views. So millions of people ended up seeing this, and you've done a great job. The winner is Dick Johnson, TSA Wonderkind, by David Kirk West, writer, director, cinematographer, and it deals with the pre-screening. That's really NSA pre-screening, where they track everything you do and use the TSA as the front to data mine all your information. It's now causing a lot of controversy, obviously, because it's totally unconstitutional. We're going to be airing part of this a little bit later on the show, though it's more, obviously, constructive and inducive to see how good it is watching it. The video is up on Infowars.com right now. Again, we probably want to check my computer in here, because even an hour after an article goes up, it won't show me new stories on this computer. It's very strange, because I know he put it up before the show even started, and you can, as you can see on my computer, it is not the top story. But on your computer out there, it is the top story up on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. And we're going to send it out on Twitter and on Facebook. And it's a good way to fight back against their tyranny, to send this on to the rest of the folks on your Facebook, to send this on to the rest of the folks on your Twitter. But coming up in the next break, I will tweet it, and I will Facebook it, out there for everybody. Now, continuing here with the news, I want to get your take on Obamacare. From Obamacare supporters, you know that they promised you could keep your doctor, you could have pre-existing conditions, you wouldn't be kicked off your insurance. It would cut the cost down to the cost of a phone bill or cable bill. Of course, it's done the opposite. And now the IRS is announcing they will be taking it out of your bank account and out of your wages. On the IRS website, headline, IRS warns Obamacare tax must be paid with tax return. And or they will take it and give you penalties and interest with the collection agency for the private Federal Reserve. And the Supreme Court has ruled this is a tax to the offshore banks openly. So I think that's really one of the biggest stories out there today. And the bigger story is, why isn't it being repealed? Only Rand Paul and Stockman of Texas and Cruz of Texas and Walter Jones of North Carolina and a few others are actually calling for its repeal. John Boehner and others are doing nothing. And the argument with some blue bloods is some of the so-called country club Republicans, the idiots, or those that get money off government contracts. Oh, Obamacare will hurt Obama, so we need to let it go through. That's completely immoral, A. B, the Republican leadership helped write it. It's for foreign insurance companies and offshore banks. It's criminal. And so you will all be held accountable as well for this monstrosity that's designed to destroy our healthcare system further, bankrupt the country, and make people basically become dependent on the system and go on welfare and get their hours cut from 40 to 25 hours. The list goes on and on. I mean, this is such an abomination, and the Tea Party's going to use it to sweep to power if we get behind them. And I mean the real libertarian Tea Party that Ron Paul started, that I helped start when he first ran for office back in 2007. That's what we're talking about, is the real Tea Party, ladies and gentlemen, of 8, 9 years ago. Not the one the Republicans tried to create to absorb things. That failed. And so now the whole system's coming after them. And I know I talk about that a lot, but 2014 is the key election year, balance of power. You've got to get libertarians in as Republicans to block this whole thing. And that's why the enemy says that's the main threat and is spending all their time trying to beat it. They discussed that at Bilderberg meetings the last 3 years. They are scared. Here's the toll-free number to join us, 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231, and we will get you up and on the air here today. But I want to get your take on all of this. By the way, the Austin police chief's going to be in studio coming up for 30 minutes in the last hour today. And I thought I'd play this clip where he said at least they're not sexually assaulting people from one of his press conferences. Here's the headline: police chief forced to apologize over comments saying that at least a jogger didn't have to deal with police who sexually assaulted her like other police departments have recently been caught doing. And the footage is out there of the woman jogging with the earbuds in on her iPad or iPod. She can't hear them, so they tackle her, slam her on the ground, and take her to jail. I mean, it's bad enough to tackle somebody because you say they're, quote, jaywalking. But then why didn't you still give her a ticket? Why'd you take her to jail? Because it's all about the government's dominance and its authority and its power and teaching you not to stand up.
At the end of the day, that officer has to stop him somehow. He didn't tackle her to the ground.
Yeah, they jumped on her.
You know, it's kind of interesting what passes for controversy in Austin, Texas. Thank you, Lord, that it's a controversy in Austin, Texas, that we actually had the audacity to touch somebody by the arm and tell them, oh my goodness, Austin police are trying to get your attention. Whew. In other cities, cops are actually committing sexual assaults on duty. So I thank God that this is what passes for a controversy in Austin, Texas.
I mean, I kind of agree with that statement, that just because other departments are so bad on average, big departments, doesn't mean that it's okay. And by the way, they did grab her and twist her arm out her back and put her on the ground. So more baloney from Arte Saveda coming up in studio. That's not the main reason I was getting him on. We got a report we're going to premiere later today if we have time, or it'll be on the Nightly News tonight. Jakari Jackson went out yesterday to a man on the street asking folks what they thought about it. The point is, police in the past wouldn't have acted like this. And a lot of times they would shoot them or taser them. You hear about autistic people, deaf folks being attacked from behind, people that don't speak English. It's scary because a lot of cops out there really are PTSD, loose cannons, whatever the case is. And they've been taught you're going to be backed up, whatever you do. The main reason I wanted him in studio, and I heard him say this months ago on 590 AM, he said, follow whatever order you're given, even if you think it's unlawful, and you won't get hurt. Well, actually, there's Supreme Court and state rulings that we have a right to defend ourselves with force from unlawful, unconstitutional orders and directives of police. In fact, guys, you print me some case examples of that. I know there's hundreds of them about court rules. You have a right to defend yourself from police outside of their duties, or court rules. Like I'll search it because I have to come up with the exact term. Indiana passed a law allowing deadly force against police to try to enter your home without a warrant. I mean, these have always been on the book, but they're having to pass new laws stating that you have a right that when they're outside of their lawful duties to resist. We incorporate cities and we hire police officers to then be professional citizen arrest powers. That's all they have. And now they, like a union, want to get rid of our right to be armed, our right to defend ourselves, and our right to have due process. I've got a bunch of other news on Ukraine. Also, California college student teaches school, $50,000 lesson on Constitution, Fox News. Remember, he got cited and arrested for handing out pocket constitutions at the college. And he's now won $50,000. They violated his rights. That just shows how warped the school is to say, oh, to have an official event, you've got to be sanctioned by us. Well, you're allowed to physically hand out whatever you want. You're allowed to hand out Christmas cards that say, I love Jesus on them. The school can't be, if it takes taxpayer money, officially pushing a religious view. And the same thing with a First Amendment view just for speech. So there you go, another example. And people see this everywhere. You know, cops coming over and saying, I've had Austin cops come over and say, turn your camera off, you can't film. And I'm 100 yards from what they're doing. And I go, nope, First Amendment, well, I'm going to arrest you. Well, I don't want to have to sue you, officer, but, you know, please don't violate my First Amendment, and they'll back off. In other cities, I've been arrested for filming. And my cameramen have. And Rob Dew won a big lawsuit with Pittsburgh. And, I mean, he had to do it. He was up on top of a hill filming police attack peaceful college students. The day after G20 ended, they came up to mainstream media, said, you're mainstream media, you're mainstream. Who are you with? Oh, I'm with Texas Television, InfoWars. Well, we're going to arrest you. You're not allowed to be out here. In America. On a hill over a university, aiming a camera down 300 yards. That's America. The cops actually believe that and treat you like you're in an occupied third world country. Let's go to Thomas. You're on the air. Go ahead, sir.
Hi, Alex, you there?
Yes, I am.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I had the pleasure of meeting you in San Antonio at the gun rally. I was standing behind you while you were interviewing Sergeant Slaughter, and one of his cronies pushed me out of the way because I was getting too close to the king, I guess. I don't know. Oh,
when I interviewed the San Antonio police chief? Yeah, we did an open carry demonstration, and I had my M4 strapped to my back, along with about 1,500 other Texans. And, you know, the police didn't implement their law against open carry, even though it's unconstitutional. They backed off that day, didn't they?
It was a good thing, you know. But once everybody started dwindling down, you could see then they starting putting pressure on people to get out of there. But
that's right. Well, we're enemies. You know, we're the food. Got to be kept in line. Go ahead.
One of the reasons I called, though, to tell you, I worked for an oil company in 2010 over in Iraq, and when I was there were no banks. There were no debt there, and we drilled the well, and we made tremendous amounts of oil. So the plan was to extract the natural resources, and I still keep in contact with the friends I made there locally, and now they all have credit cards and banks all over northern Iraq.
Well, that's why the globalists come in and take down sovereign nations, is they want to get you into their debt money system. You're absolutely right.
There was the shadow investor that was called Shamaran Petroleum. ShamaranPetroleum.com. Just looks evil, and the literal translation for it is king of serpents, is what they call themselves. So, I mean, I'm a religious person, so it just seemed bad to me all the way around. I got out of that business because it just didn't feel right, if you know what I mean.
I hear you. What else did you want to talk about?
I witnessed a wreck over in Pleasanton, Texas. I'm still in the oil field down here in South Texas. I witnessed a wreck, and I pulled over a truck. It was during that first ice storm in January. A truck ran into the back of a little car and then took off. He let that car crash. I got out to wave traffic away from this car until police arrived. And the guys were unconscious when I got there. They woke up. They were really hurt. This truck had smashed into them and then drove off. And when the cops got there, the first thing they asked me was, "Were you in the wreck?" I said, "No." I said, "It's these gentlemen over here." And he walks up to the gentleman, and instead of seeing if they're all right, he asked, "Have you guys been drinking?"
Most of the new polio type cases worldwide have been directly, even in mainstream news, connected to the vaccines. Just like whooping cough on the West Coast has been connected to the vaccines. People get it from the vaccine. And I believe from the evidence, that's where this is coming from. But here's a headline: paralysis cases spike in wake of Bill Gates polio vaccination effort. Infowars.com. And the article links through to the EU chairman of the World Health Organization and others, and the Times of India, you name it. Here's NBC. Bill Gates polio vaccine program caused 47,500 cases of paralysis and death. That's just some of it. The live polio vaccine that's still being given, even though it's illegal in the U.S., is just simply devastating. So some of that's coming up as well. The Supreme Court is coming out expanding police searches of homes without warrants. 'Tis the season to overthrow the republic. With all these designer viruses, chemicals, biologicals out there, you know, my uncle and cousin died of viral pneumonia with bacterial complications in December and January of this year, December of last year, my cousin. And I was talking to John Harmon of Genesis, 3 gold brokers that are in the same building, because Midas Resources is the parent company, guys that I've known a long time, died. And they would get chest infections, and one had a heart attack from it, the other 2 died from it, directly from it. And they said, oh yeah, there's a mystery illness filling up the hospitals in Minnesota. Same thing at the hospital my uncle died in Tyler, Texas. They, for 4 days, were turning away all patients because they were full of people dead and dying from this stuff. And I have had this stuff for 3 weeks and have been fighting it and feel like my throat is raw meat. So thank God I'm on the Nation Iodine. Thank God I'm on the Survival Shield. Thank God I'm on the purified water. All this is helping me. But InfoWarsLife.com to get the Survival Shield that's helped all my organs and glands. It does amazing things. We have the Fluoride Shield. That's the Nation Iodine and 5 other compounds that detoxify fluoride, also heavy metals and other toxins. And we have Super Male Vitality. We're running that 15% off special into next week. And we did sell out of it, but more just came in yesterday. A limited supply, because the word's gotten out on this. This was kind of a sleeper product. At first, it wasn't selling well at all, and now we can't even produce enough of it because it has the 8 super herbs concentrated. Because the word is getting out. People are reordering. They're telling friends about it. It works for women as well. Super Male Vitality. But we're going to come out with a female version that's tweaked, has a few different things in it. Women really like this. I'll just leave it at that. The energy, the health, the vitality triggers your body to give you a good hormonal balance from the research we've done. Super Male Vitality, InfoWarsLife.com, or calling toll-free 888-253-3139.
You are watching the best of The Alex Jones Show, weekdays from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central. Watch live at Infowars.com/show or become a member of InfoWarsNews.com and help us take resistance to the next level.